You're listening to Bye Bye Baby, a Dob Berman production.
Hi everyone, we're the Bye Bye Baby podcast. Disclaimer: if you're not old enough to watch R-rated movies, you're not old enough to listen to our podcast. So we're a group of international students here in Scotland.
Shut up.
We're not.
Okay,
I'm Scottish.
You don't sound
Damn.
Scottish.
I'm half Scottish.
No, fuck. Okay, still, most of us are international students based here in Scotland, and well, for now we're all poor as fuck, so we're using our university's library.
On the silent floor.
Yes, as a studio.
Everyone
Probably
outside hates
Why are you
us.
looking at me like that? Because you were looking at Julie like that.
I'm pretty sure this is gonna be a bad idea, but we're still doing it anyway. So,
She's right.
yes, so I'm Julie, by the way. I'm a Brazilian 26-year-old straight girl, probably the only straight one in this group.
Definitely the only straight one.
Yes, I'm the ally. I'm gonna be the babysitter for this episode, and those are my babies.
Hey. Creepy haze from the back.
Babies.
Okay, who wants to go first?
Hi, my name's Max. I'm 24 years old. I'm from Sheffield. I'm half Scottish. I'm...
Show off.
Shut up. I'm a TESOL Master's student, and my background is in TESOL Japanese, and it was in Japan where I met my darling girlfriend.
Hi, I'm Anna.
I'm bi, by the way. Point out for this podcast.
The entire point of this podcast is he was just gonna skate
We're just gonna
right
talk
over it.
about stuff. I'm Anna. I am a 24-year-old American. I am not entirely sure how to describe my own sexuality, but we'll talk about that later. You and me, microphone. I am a publishing student, and I like long walks on the beach. Let's go.
I'm Maddie. I feel like I'm at like an AA meeting right now, introducing myself.
Hi, Maggie.
Hi, Maddie.
I'm Maddie. I am 24 years old. I'm an American as well, unfortunately.
No one's very proud about that right now.
It's okay.
I'm also a master's publishing student, and I am bisexual for the most part. I think that's how I would define myself. So,
Our sexualities are pretty fluid, I think, in this group.
yeah.
I'm Tori. I'm also American, also a master's publishing student. You'll find that most of us are master's publishing students. Max is the odd one out.
In all ways.
In all ways. I'm from Florida, so if my southern accent starts coming out, that's why.
It means she's mad.
It means I'm mad. My inner Karen is coming out. That's what that is. And I'm bisexual. Yeah, I guess for the most part.
You feel like you should add on more.
Because, I mean,
But-
we're going to go into that later, but, like, I don't know if I'm bisexual or pansexual, and I feel like I'm not going to go into it now
for
because
the
that's
podcast. Wait, this is the
This
podcast.
is the podcast. But we'll go over that later. But yes, I'm also 22.
Also, no one else has been.
No one else
22.
has
You're a big
Youngest.
22.
Oh,
I'm the youngest.
So you should say you're
Yeah,
also 22.
sorry. And this is Mariana. She's also 22.
Nice save.
So yeah, I'm Mariana. I don't know why I said my name like that. I'm Mariana, and I'm 22 years old, like Tori. Fun fact: we were born 12 days apart.
We were.
Seriously?
I'm older by 12 days.
Yes, I am Portuguese, and I'm also a master's in publishing student. And yeah, much like Tori as well, my sexuality is kind of hard to define. But
she's
we'll
not
get
straight.
into it
Nobody's here
at a
straight,
later
trust me.
We'll get into that.
at a later date. But for the most part, I say I'm queer, so that's a nice sounding label.
Today's episode is gonna be the coming out special, where everybody's gonna share a little bit about their coming out stories. Does anybody want to go first? Because I don't really have a coming out story. You don't come out as straight.
With that attitude.
Dad, I'm straight.
Well, I gave them enough disappointments with my straightness. I could go on and on and on about that for like hours, but that's not the focus today. So, does anybody want to go first?
So I've got two, which is sort of indicative of the idea that you're never done coming out. There is always the assumption that people are straight in society. So, I mean, like, even with everyone here, at some point you found out I'm bi, and that's been coming out in a form.
I came out for you to these people.
Yes. So the two main ones I've got are when I was about 14 or 15, I came out to my mum and I was just like, "Hey mum, I think I'm bi." And my mum's response was, "No, you're not."
Oh.
Okay. What makes you think that? Well, you're just too young. So a few years later, it came up in conversation when I was like, well, it's like 10 years later it came up in conversation because I was like 23, 24. And my mum was like, "No, you're not bi. That's not a thing." And that's just been in the background. I don't have the... I don't want to try
Didn't
and...
she say something about you can't be bi if you're dating me?
Yes.
Sorry about that.
No, that's fine. You're not stopping it.
Nope.
That bi erasure bullshit.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, hi mum, if you're listening to this, I do love you.
I
He's
also
still
like
bi.
you.
He's still bi. He is.
So,
It's not a face.
and like that's the thing, some of the stuff, not just my mum, but other people have said was like, "Oh, if you're bi, surely that's sending out messages that you want to sleep with another man." What does Anna think about that?
I don't give a shit. He's just as long as he doesn't cheat on me with anybody.
Yeah. Which I'm not going to do, because I love you.
Insert "aww" here.
You already all did that. And
Yeah,
then
you didn't need to insert it. I think.
there's...
Fine.
Stop inserting things.
I'll just shut up. Oh, I'm good at that.
Damn
Tori's
straight.
taking notes.
I have, like there's been... Oh, tangent topic. I've got my longest friend, we've known each other
like the
since he was
tallest
16. I think Brian might actually be my tallest friend as well.
The longest and tallest friend.
Yeah, my longest standing friend. We've met once. It was about 2 years ago. He came over and stayed in my flat at uni. And my mum thought for a point I was cheating on Anna with him for a good 20 minutes, I think. When I just like dropped into the conversation like, "Oh, Brian's staying over. Where's he staying? He's staying in my flat. Don't you just have one room?" "Yeah." It's like, I slept on the floor, he slept on the bed.
And there was only one bed.
Yeah, which he slept... No, he slept on the floor because I'm a terrible person.
Oh,
He
my.
slept on the floor. You slept in the bed.
I can't remember.
terrible.
I'll
What
have
a
to-
horrible host you
So-
are.
Yeah, anyway.
No one come to our house.
You invite us there all the time,
No,
though.
because I want you guys to see it because it's so cute.
It is cute.
It is adorable.
Second story to this. I used to work for a charity called Say It, and they went into schools and colleges and did those really patronizing like plays about here's why you shouldn't be homophobic through the medium of theatre. And it was great and it was really fun. And for most of my time working with them, I identified as straight until I sort of like I thought I was bi, and then my mum had said, "No, you're not bi," and I'd gone, "Yeah, I guess I'm straight." And then around the time I started working with them, I was like, "Huh, I like guys. Guys are kind of cute. Girls are kind of cute. I think I'm bi." And so I sort of made that realization myself, and I didn't end up telling anyone in Say It until we were... Anyway, we were doing something similar to this and like just talking to everyone and saying who we are, what we were about. And it went through everyone and I was like, I'm Max and I'm bisexual. And then everyone else in this school hall with me, in front of all of these like secondary school kids, just sort of like went... The person next to me even like leaning close and going, I thought you were straight. And all I could think of to say was, yes, so did I until about 2 weeks ago. Anyway, that's me.
That was a good one. Thank you, Max.
Good start.
Yep.
So, my story is not as funny as Max's, unfortunately. Funny enough, it also involves my mom. So
I thought you were going to say, funnily enough, it involves his mom, and I was going to be like, whoa, Caroline!
That would be a massive coincidence.
Yeah.
Plot twist.
I wasn't even in the country, but sure. So, I first realized I was queer, bisexual. Well, I first came out as bisexual when I was 15, and all my friends were incredibly supportive. Most of my friends were LGBT as well, so that made it much, much easier. And yeah, so I was 2 years later, I was about late 16, like 17, I think. So prime of high school. And I thought, oh, I should probably come out to my mom, just in case. I remember I also had like this crush on a girl, and I was like, maybe I should tell my mom, just preventively so. And I knew for the longest time that my family wasn't going exactly to be like super supportive about that, but they weren't gonna like kick me out. Like, my family is not like homophobic or anything. They just have a lot of prejudice, and because they don't know about it, they're not used to. And like I mentioned before, I'm from Portugal, heavily Catholic country, and despite my family not being super Catholic, it's still something that is not quite talked about.
Yeah, it's cultural, and it's also taboo in many Catholic countries.
But that's a whole nother episode.
Yes,
We're
as
going
well.
to that another day.
So I thought I should start with my mom, since she had said specifically that she was not religious, and then I would tell my dad. I thought my dad would be super cool with it, but I never really got to that point, because one day me and my mom were having lunch, just the two of us. My dad was at work, and I remember there was something in the news. It must have been around Pride time, so Pride was happening in Lisbon, and I just sort of initiated like a conversation, just steer it like, oh yeah, Mom, so bisexuals, am I right?
Airplane food, am I right?
So
What is the deal with?
yeah, I just started breaching the subject. I had several friends actually who also identified as bi, so I sort of like leaned that way. So this friend of mine, she dated both girls and guys, and so yeah, that stuff happens. And just very, very casually, to be honest, I blocked out most of this conversation, so I don't remember the exact words, but just trying to be very casual about it. And I vividly remember my mom just getting up and being like, oh yeah, that is not a thing. And I was like, what do you mean it is not a thing? It is a thing. People, are it. So and my mom was like, no, I think, and she just proceeded to spout a bunch of like misconceptions and a bunch of stereotypes about bisexual people, like, oh, they're either gay and they haven't like fully come out yet, or they're just greedy, or they're just confused, like experimenting like people do in university. So yeah, and at this point I was feeling very crap, and I was feeling just, horrible about myself, and I just started tearing up. So I finished my lunch. I just was like, oh, okay, yeah, sure. And you know, just like kind of ran out the room and never brought it up with her again. So, you know, hope you don't find this, Mom.
That went well.
Or hey,
Oh.
maybe she will find it and things will change.
Maybe we
Maybe.
could be like some kind of good
Coming out
experience.
superheroes.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe
Maybe
That's,
forward
that's,
this to her to
that's the
come
name
out.
of this episode.
Coming out superheroes.
But yeah, if
That makes
she
it seem
ever-
like we're coming out as superheroes.
Yeah.
Mom, Dad.
I'm Iron Man.
Mum, Dad, I'm back. Oh wait, no.
But yeah, I've almost every year, because there's Coming Out Day, which is somewhere in September, I think, National Coming Out Day.
Yeah.
And for every single year, I've planned how to come out to my mom on Coming Out Day. There's several, like there's YouTube videos, which like some YouTubers made. Allie's.
I was gonna say Allie Hills.
Allie Hills,
Her
yeah.
song, oh
And,
my god,
like-
it's amazing. If you haven't watched it, go YouTube Allie Hills coming out video or I'm gay or something like that, and
We'll
it's
add it in the show
amazing.
notes.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
It'll be in
It's
notes.
amazing. And I thought maybe I'll just forward this to my mom, wait for her to watch it, and then she'll freak out because I'm gay. And I'm like, but I'm not gay, I'm bi. And so that'll be slightly better for her.
Isn't that some kind of selling technique where you're like, here,
Yeah.
it's going to be $100,000, and they're like, what? And then you're like, no, just kidding, it's only $50,000, and they're like, well, that's much better.
Exactly. So I thought about doing that. And fun fact that I didn't tell anyone here beforehand. When I went back to Portugal, I'm not Batman, unfortunately.
Exactly what Batman was.
So when I went back to Portugal, I was rummaging through my old papers and notebooks and diaries and all that bullshit, and I found this little letter of goals that I wrote to myself when I was 18 or 20, and one of them was coming out to my mom. Was what like it was, I think, at the top, like, if you by the time you're like either 18 or 20, I can't remember, like, if by the time if by this year you haven't come out to my mom, do it now, no excuses. And I was like, well, here it is several years later from the deadline.
Oh, man.
Still procrastinating.
It's okay.
So maybe I'll forward this to her and
Well,
see what she thinks about it.
you don't actually have a deadline to come out,
Yeah.
so...
Yeah, and that's what I end up telling myself, because I know realistically I don't have to. It just sort of feels bad when I go back home and there's like this like layer that I have to put on to like be careful not to say certain things.
It's hard to hide big parts of yourself from people that you feel the most close to.
Yeah, since then I've come out to a lot of people.
Except
Even
your
though I
mom.
haven't come out. Oh, I came out from to my two cousins, actually. Both my cousins. Since they're around the same age as I am. One of them was like, just, cool, okay, I'm very happy for you. And the other one was super mad because I told her 1 year after I came out to my first cousin. And she was super mad that I hadn't come out to her first, or like at the same time. And she was like, what? Why didn't you tell me this before? I have to find out like so much time later. So that was good. So only the rest of my family to go.
Well, the good point was, you can trust your cousins.
Yes. Oh yeah, they're amazing. They are so supportive of me. So yeah, that's my story.
So we heard Max's story, Madi's story, Madi.
Okay, this is Maddie again. Hi.
Hi, Madi.
You can't see me waving, but I'm waving at you. So I didn't realize that I wasn't straight until I licked chocolate sauce off of a girl's boob.
Oh.
That'll do it.
That made me start to question things.
I've got so many questions.
Yeah, I think that must be
I think that's a story for another time.
Okay.
But I think I was like 18 at the time. And some events unfolded that night, and I was like, it's fine. Girls make out with girls when they're drunk. It's what you do.
Gals being
And
gals.
I mean,
I thought, okay, it was normal. It's fine. Until the girl that I made out with, a couple weeks later at New Year's, something came up about it, and the girl that I kissed, her boyfriend said something about, like, me wanting to kiss her again, because I think I made a joke. Because I did want to kiss her again.
It's all coming out in subtext.
Yeah. And he was like, oh, Maddie just wants to kiss her again. And I was like, wait, do I? So from that moment on, I just kind of started thinking about it. But I still identified as straight for, I don't know, like 2 or 3 years after that. But I really started to, like, realize that I was more so bisexual than straight. I was in the Navy at the time. And I kind of just, like, was thinking about it. You know, I was, like, watching tons of YouTube videos about it. At first, I thought maybe I was gay. But I, like, 6 months later, after that, I was like, okay, no, I'm definitely not gay. I like guys, too. But at that point, after I got out of the Navy, I went home. And I vividly remember sitting in the pool with my parents, you know, and it was quiet for a couple minutes. We were just kind of sitting there listening to music. And I just kind of went, hey, Mom, Dad, just so you guys know, I'm bisexual. And my dad goes, okay. And I was like, oh, is that it? But my mom had a different response. She kind of looked at me with concern. Like, I hadn't seen her look at me like that since, like, the year before, when I saw her when she came to visit me in Chicago when I was still in the Navy. And it was because when I was in the Navy, this is about to get heavy, I'm sorry, trigger warning, I was sexually assaulted. And so after that, my mom thought that it was just, like, my trauma talking.
Kind of a defense mechanism.
Yeah. She thought that me saying I was bisexual was because after being assaulted, you know, I wasn't attracted to men in the same way, or, like, I was afraid of men or something like that.
Well, her heart was, no, I was going to say her heart was in the right place, but her heart was confused too.
I think her heart was in the right place, but her heart definitely was confused. So she said, honey, are you sure? Are you sure it's not because of what happened? And I said, you know, like, I knew you were going to say this. This is something I've been thinking about for the last 6 months as far as, like, telling you guys. And I knew you were going to respond this way. And it's just because, you know, she's a mama bear. She's just concerned about me. And at the time, I still hadn't, you know, gotten enough therapy and all of that to get past my trauma. I was still pretty much in the thick of my PTSD. So she just insisted, you know, Maddie, just, you know, maybe don't put a label to it yet. Give yourself some time, you know, explore, experiment, figure it out, but don't put that label on yourself yet. But for me, the label was empowering. So I kept using it despite what, you know, she advised I do. And a couple months after that, we went to Las Vegas as a girls' trip with a couple generations within my family. So there was, like, me and my cousins and my sisters, my mom, my aunt, my cousin's mom, who is not my aunt. It's confusing. A bunch of people.
The whole damn fam.
So, yeah, the whole fam-damly. And,
Are you me?
So, yes. So we went to this big dinner the first night we got there, and we were just chit-chatting, whatever. And I told my my cousins and then my sisters, because I think they, like, at this point, they knew I was bisexual, but I hadn't explicitly told them, but I was still very uncomfortable with, like, being hit on and stuff like that. And we were going to go to a club that night, like a Las Vegas club. We had a table reserved for us. We had bottle service because my sister has the hookups.
Nice.
She knows people wherever she goes. So we got this table and bottle service for free. We didn't have to pay anything.
Damn.
Like it.
Yeah. It
Now
was,
you're just bragging.
Yeah.
Add live
But-
Vegas episode to the list.
it really wasn't that crazy because, long story short, I had a really bad panic attack that night. So after that, I was like, I think I'm going to stick to gambling. But where I was going with that was I told my cousins and my sisters at the table, because we were going out, I was like, hey, just so you guys know, if someone like tries to hit on me or anything like that tonight, I'm gay on this trip. You know, girls will do that sometimes.
Yeah.
They'll tell a guy that's being creepy at a bar, like, hey, I'm gay, no thanks.
And that
Yeah.
works like half the time, maybe.
Yeah.
No.
Not even.
It doesn't usually stop them, honestly,
It
but
doesn't.
I thought I'd try it. And my mom kicked me under the table when I said that. She full on kicked me in the shin, and I looked at her like, the fuck? Did you just fucking kick me? And I wasn't even like, it didn't, I was saying that I was gay for the weekend, not bisexual. So it was just a joke, and my mom just...
It was a misunderstanding, basically, that time.
She misunderstood, but after that, she confronted me again, was
If
like...
only she'd missed under table where she kicked you. I did it. I got there.
So she talked to me afterward and was like, honey, I thought we agreed that, you know, we weren't putting any labels on it. And I said, I was just making a joke, and two,
Wrong label.
yeah, we? I think it's my label, and I will decide. It's not a we thing to decide. But years later, after I, you know, kind of had my first relationship with a girl, I think that's when my mom was like, okay, maybe she is bisexual. And now she's like super supportive soccer mom about it.
That's so good.
It's really cute. The whole trauma aspect definitely kind of threw a wrench into it. But, you know, it's all good now.
Before Anna tells her story too, I'm usually the gay beard of my friend group. Because, like, as bisexual and as, like, a pretty damn obvious bisexual, whenever my friends would not want to dance with a guy, they'd, like, point me out and be like, that's my girlfriend. And I'd slide over, slip a hand around their waist and be like, hey.
Hey, baby.
What's going on?
I had to do that for my best friend for a while because her dad was trying to set her up with like some guy that was the son of someone he knew, and I was
Oh
like,
my god.
It's always the
Dave.
son of someone they know.
yeah.
That explains
specifics.
a lot.
Now I
Just-
don't like this particular human. No offense, Dave.
Hey.
Dave.
But he was like, he kept saying like, oh, why don't you date this boy? Why don't you date this boy? And eventually, like, I was at her house and I was like, why would my girlfriend date any of these boys? And he was like, I haven't been to his house since.
That is hilarious.
This is why I love you.
Aw, because I pretended to be dating Jess.
Well, when you say it like that, it sounds weird.
It does. Anyway.
Because you're like so ready to stand up for your friends.
Aw, babe. Save it for the podcast.
We're on the
If you can't tell, that's been a catchphrase for the past couple of weeks. Oh, that was funny. Save it for the podcast. Like,
Oh, yes, it's been going on for a while,
while.
now.
Yeah.
Anyway, back onto the topic. I guess I should also put a trigger warning. I'm about to trigger the discourse.
oh,
I have basically identified as asexual or on the asexual spectrum for almost a decade now. When I first found out about it, I was like 16. And a lot of people kind of were already figuring out their sexualities in my area by that point. And I was like, we're too young for that. We're babies. Why is anyone even thinking about sex? We're like children. And everyone was like, you know, we're 16 now, right? You know, we're like people who we went to kindergarten with are driving.
And having sex.
And having sex, yeah. But
Yeah.
So I was 16 and I heard the label asexual and I was like, oh my god, it all makes sense now. I'm not a baby, I'm just a this. And I was out and proud for a really long time. And then at some point during that time, it started to get unacceptable to be ace. And I started to think, maybe I should find another label so that I didn't get bullied on the interwebs. Interwebs is so fun. So fun.
Super. Yay.
And I did get some hate messages and things, but I kind of ignored it, and I was just like, okay, well, I'll just have another look and examine my sexuality. And I was like, do I just want to say that I'm straight and just hate sex? Oh, I'm not straight. Oh, I do have a crush on my best friend. Same one who I pretended to be her girlfriend. It was a very trying time.
Oh, man.
It's usually how that works, doesn't it? You pretend to be their girlfriend, and then you're like, wait.
Isn't
Yeah.
that the
Can I
trope?
be their for real girlfriend?
So it turned out that she'd had a crush on me, like, 5 years earlier, and she had worked past it and hadn't told me.
fuck.
Right?
I hate that.
I didn't learn that till I was already dating Max, though, so it's
Yeah.
okay. I wasn't that disappointed. But then I was looking at other labels, and I was like, okay, what about the split attraction model? Do I experience romantic attraction? Yeah, clearly I was in love with Jesse, so that definitely happened. But I also feel like I've had crushes on guys. Maybe. I don't know what any of this means or what it feels like. So then I was like, maybe I'm bi-romantic asexual. And then I was like, you know what? I'm going to talk to someone. And I decided I would come out to my parents. I came out to my mom, and we were in the car, because that's when we talk. She pulled the car over, she gave me a big hug, and she said, oh, we'll support you no matter what, whatever, you are, whoever you are, we still love you. And I was like, oh, Mom, I didn't think you wouldn't love me. I have very, very openly gay relatives that one of them's like your best friend. So, okay. And then I tried to come out to my dad. And he said, I don't know if that's a thing. Okay. It is, but okay. Tried again a couple weeks later. He said, I don't know if you should be using labels. I don't know if, labels are going to help you. Maybe I just don't
Again with
believe
the
in
labels.
Right? What is up with parents and labels? I was like, okay, well, it's my label, but I guess we're not doing this. Fine. I didn't really talk to him about it again until a few weeks before I started dating Max, when he said, oh, Anna's asexual. She would never want to date anyone.
He picked the best time.
Actually, no, there was one more interceding thing where I said something about, well, because I'm asexual, Dad. And he was like, noted British comedian Stephen Fry. And I was like, I don't know where this sentence is going, but it can't be good. But it was kind of
For
great.
context, this is the most in-character thing for Anna's dad.
Yeah, Dad's a cryptid. It's fine. Notable British
Rick.
comedian Stephen Fry used to identify as asexual, and now he's gay. Do you think that's what's going to happen to you?
Oh, man.
I do think he was talking about the fact that he kind of wanted me and Jesse to get together.
Oh.
Which is it's supportive.
Kind of cute.
Yeah.
It's kind of cute, but hey, what about listening?
I mean, it's kind of a bad choice of words.
Yeah,
With
it's kind of cute though. But
Do
then,
you think that's
a
going
lack of
to
a boob.
happen to you?
right?
That sounded so much like John Mulaney.
Similarities. But essentially, I have been in and out and closeted and not, and ace and demi after I started dating Max, and I was like, wait, I would sex that. Maybe I'm demi. But now I'm sort of not sure, because I honestly don't know what sexual attraction feels like, or how it is, or what it is. So I'm just gonna go with the whole queer label for now. Definitely not straight, though. Definitely not straight. High five. It was Mariana.
Yeah,
Not a
the
queer.
queer label. I love it.
Anna, thank you so much for your story. It was sweet.
My dad's weird, right?
He is. Yes, he is weird.
I think we already knew that your dad was a little bit unique when we found out
How he tells time?
yes.
how he tells time, and that he really enjoys making broth.
Oh my
Not
god,
soup.
is he coming to your graduation?
I hope so. My parents are going to come visit sometime in the
I
spring.
want to meet your
My
dad
mom wants
so
to meet all
much.
of you. She's
I-
met Max.
My mom is determined.
I still want to get our parents to
I
meet,
want to meet
but
all of your parents.
I
That's
have
gonna
no
be so
idea
fun.
what's going to happen.
It's going to be really
It's
weird.
going to be really
My dad and your
weird.
mom are going to hate each other.
Oh.
Because my dad is all about decadent
yeah.
food, and your mom's a health nut.
And then,
Oh,
so it's...
Maybe they can bond over broth. Does she like broth?
She probably loved broth. She really liked ramen the one time she had it.
oh
Fair
yeah.
enough.
There it is.
Yeah.
Dad makes really good ramen.
Come on point.
My mom wants to get him an apron that says the broth man.
Okay, so my honestly, like Julie, I didn't really have a coming out, but that's because my family is that weird family that always talks about sexuality and past partners and you know, we're basically all up in each other's lives. Except for my cousin, who got really freaked out when Gran asked if her first dates always ended in sex, and she was like, "Oh my god, don't say that!" My Gran has asked the exact same question, and I was like, not usually.
Just
Don't
if
really
the
like
person
that.
is really, really amazing.
Maybe if I was going on a first date with like Chris Hemsworth,
Or someone you've known forever and the spark has always been there.
yeah, a long-term kind of thing, or like an overwhelming sexual vibe.
I just love how
Keira
the
Knightley.
options were Chris Hemsworth or someone you've known for a long time.
I really want to meet your gran. You've told us a lot about her, and I really want to meet her.
So
Is
it
she coming to
actually-
your graduation?
My entire family is coming
Yes.
to my graduation.
I can't wait
for you.
to meet all of your families. That's gonna be so
Egg
fun.
salad?
Ridiculous. Egg salad is
Egg
coming
salad.
too.
Well, I mean,
We're not going to give Egg salad a name, but that is not her name. My cousin was not named after a food. But
That was her parents' mistake.
Okay, baked Alaska.
My name is Baked Alaska. But anyway, so
I shall be loved.
I didn't really have a real coming out. The closest thing I could say is a couple months ago, my gran was helping me move here to Scotland, actually. And we were just getting to talking. Me, my mom, and my gran were sitting around having a glass of wine before bed. And, ooh,
What?
Max is rolling up his sleeves. And
I've been in this shirt all fucking day.
We-
I'm hot.
we just
Yeah,
went
you
over
are.
how
We know
hot
you are.
forearms are, so we're like...
Right, fine.
No!
Tori, keep telling your story, please.
Anna's very into
So
it.
Not
anyway.
allowed to cover them.
Anyway, we were just sitting around having a glass of wine before bed, and we were talking about Dolly Parton, and I was saying how if I was, like, 30 years older, I'd totally go for Dolly Parton. And my gran was just like, "Wait, are you a lesbian?" And I was like, "Gran, no. I've been out with boys. I've been out with girls. You know both of these things." And she was like, "Wait, what?" I was like, "I'm bisexual, Gran." She goes, "When did this happen?" And me and my mom are like, "Always. when was it not happening?" And it got, she took it really well. She just kind of like hummed, and she was like, "Okay, but if you end up marrying a woman, you have to tell me first so that we can get you the better dress." And I was like, "Oh my god." What a horrible thing to say about my future wife.
Probable future wife.
Quite honestly, if I ever get married and marriage is a scam, don't get married. Advice from Tori.
Unless you have to for international visa reasons and love. Advice from Anna.
Mostly love.
Mostly love. But
Yeah, if you're the consulate listening to this, they are very much in love.
you make us sound more suspicious when you say that.
If you're the consulate listening to this,
Why?
we have photo evidence
Why?
and stuff.
Why are
yeah,
you
no,
listening?
that's the other thing.
Yes.
I mean,
Why?
if you're in the
This
consulate
is-
and you're listening to this, well done for being woke. Like, damn.
Yeah.
Good job.
This is gonna suck
We
if we
applaud
give
you.
one of the excuses is like excuses. If we give one of the reasons we're together, it's like we do a podcast together. Excuses, Christ. Tori, please keep talking while I die. in a
Sorry,
panic.
Anyway. But, no, I told Gran that if I'm gonna be in a dress, we're both gonna be in a Billy Porter dress, where, like, the top is a suit and the bottom is, like, this full Cinderella
Oh, I've
skirt.
seen those. They're
Hell yeah.
amazing.
If you haven't seen the dress, Billy Porter red carpet suit dress, it is amazing. It's gorgeous. I want it.
Wait, is that the guy that words are hard? Was he on American Horror Story one of the seasons?
Billy Porter? I feel like no.
I have no idea who that is.
I don't know why you're looking at me. I've
There
never
was.
watched it.
I'm looking at space.
we were at the Met the day after that.
I feel like the name Billy doesn't fit for him.
It's not.
We'll add a picture of it in the show notes.
Yeah. But anyway, no, so I didn't really have a coming out. On the other hand, my brother did actually have to have a coming out because we were all betting that he would be gay, and he turned out straight. So he had a coming out
I
of
have
being
something
straight
to add to this.
to basically the entire family. We were at Thanksgiving, and he said, and we were saying how, like, we can't wait to meet, you know, Dylan's future husband. And then mom goes, or wife, we can't put any labels on him. And then Dylan goes, I'm straight, and, like, slams his hands down on the table and just declares it for the whole family, which methinks he doth protest too much. But I'm just kidding. Dylan, if you're listening, I'm sorry.
I really, really wish I had a coming out straight story, but I don't.
There's still time. There's no deadline.
But
Uh-huh.
there's no news. There's no deadlines. That's true.
There's no
but,
deadline.
After 9 boyfriends, I mean, it's kind of hard to come out as straight.
But it would
Pretty
be a
much
really
obvious.
funny story.
It would be, yes. I would just, if I were to plan something like this, I'd probably just gather my whole family in our dining room back in Brazil while having a super amazing dinner, and I'll just get up and clink, clink, clink.
The spoon on the
I
glass.
suppose you're
Yes.
wondering why Gavin used it today.
Yes.
I have rumors. They're like, tell different people different things throughout the night. So someone thinks you're dying of cancer.
No,
someone
be like,
thinks you're
I have,
pregnant.
I have
they
a good
talk too
announcement
much.
for tonight,
They
and
talk
literally
too
just tell
much.
different people different things.
That would be
That'd be so
amazing.
great.
Just hint different things.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that would be so freaking funny.
So yeah, but that's my coming out. I
Doing
had
horrible
a
things today.
kind of coming out to my gran, who somehow forgot I was bisexual. But no, I've had girlfriends and boyfriends. I think the first time I realized I was bisexual, I vividly remember this, sitting in my room, up against my closet, hiding behind the wall that, like, separated me from my door. And I was watching Lady Gaga's, disco stick. What's the...
Poker face.
Poker Face. I was watching
I'm
this...
gonna take a ride on your disco stick.
Literally, her outfit in that video, I was like, wow.
This was back when she like had the long blonde hair and the bangs.
Yes.
Back in the Just Dance days.
Oh,
Very,
yes.
very pretty.
If you haven't watched that video, definitely go. That was my sexual awakening. Sorry, guys.
Okay. Sure. I mean,
Tell me more, please.
Okay.
Thank you.
Oh,
Lady
we should have
Gaga.
an episode about that.
Yeah, I've got a fun story for that.
Me too.
Okay, then I'd like
I
to
don't-
also change my answer before my sex after the first date. Chris Hemsworth or Lady Gaga? Yep.
Definitely buy.
Oh yeah.
Yes,
Thank you
no
for the
question
confirmation.
Thanks, Tori. This was very lovely. And by the way, my mom would probably make paella for the dinner.
ooh, I love paella.
Yes, she's very into paella right now.
That's the other thing my dad likes to make. Stuff like paella. The man likes
And
to...
broth.
And broth. We can't let you
Yeah.
forget the broth.
No, I said that's the other thing.
They have a soup freezer. Or a broth freezer, excuse me. Or is it a soup freezer?
It's both.
Ah.
Does anybody has anything else to say
Um,
about their coming out story?
Baller toots. I'm done.
Baller toots.
ladies and
Baller
gentlemen.
toots.
I have one.
Hashtag baller toots.
Ooh, that's a good hashtag.
Ass tag. Ass tag. Hashtag ass
I
tag.
cannot top hashtag. I think it's time to finish this.
So, thank you very much for everybody for sharing, for being here with us. Thank you for listening to us as well. If you got your coming out story and you want to share with us, send us an email at byebyebabypodcast@gmail.com. We'll be very pleased to get your stories and to read them. It's going to be awesome. And you can also find us on Tumblr, Instagram, Twitter, and we're still trying to figure out YouTube, but we're going to be there as well. Our handles are all Bye Bye Baby Podcast. Just Google us. We're going to be there. And thank you very much.
Bye bye, babies.